We're on our way for a 3-week vacation in Japan. It's going to be a long day as we first fly into LAX before boarding our 11-hour and 45-minute flight to Narita Airport just outside of Tokyo. After researching our options, we decided on Singapore Airlines. The service and our 2 full meals in coach was pretty good, especially with our unlimited Singapore slings. We arrive about 5:30 p.m. the next day, but we have a lot of things to do before we catch our 2-hour bus ride into Tokyo. We finally got to the hotel about 9 o'clock, just enough time to settle in, take a shower, and figure out how to use the toilet. We were in bed by 11, now being up for over 24 hours. A new day, and the first order of business, breakfast. We're planning on getting something at one of the many convenience stores literally on every corner, but that didn't turn out as easy as expected. Before arriving, it was suggested we try one of the chicken cutlets. It didn't live up to the hype, being on the fatty side. Looking a little lost, a clerk came up and suggested one of these. It's called an onigiri, a triangle of rice wrapped in nori. She suggested the tuna one. It was very good and became one of our favorite go-tos for a quick snack. A short walk from the hotel is Meiji Jingu, one of Japan's Shinto shrines. The shrine was established in 1920 and is surrounded by a large forest. This green space within the city was created with the help of the donation of 100,000 trees to honor the spirit of Emperor Meiji and his wife, Empress Shokin. There are many different items displayed here as donations to the temple, including sake from almost every brewer in Japan. Besides a display of traditional bonsais, there were these little miniature dioramas, including this one with the title of Wedding. These are traditional sake barrels. They're donated each year from breweries across Japan. Having some extra time, we decided to spend the extra $6.50 and visit the inner garden. Being late fall, we missed most of the flower displays, but there was still the ponds and some impressive bonsais. As we make our way down to the Shibuya district, we have a couple of places we want to stop for some food. The first is A Happy Pancake. When we get there, we literally just see a staircase going down with some people in line. They said the wait was about 45 minutes, and then it would be another 40 minutes to get our food after we ordered. We shared one order of pancakes with berries and whipped topping. I would describe them sort of a cross between a pancake and a souffle, but watching them make them made the time go faster. Our next stop is a restaurant called Harajuku Gyozaro, and they're known for their pot stickers. The pot stickers were good, but the sake was the star of the show. As we get closer to the busier Shibuya area, it's interesting how vertically oriented the shops are. Larger stores will take up multiple floors, but it's not unusual to have many different stores on different levels of the same building. We even checked out one of the many arcades. It was interesting to see the wide range of ages, not just kids. Once in the Shibuya area, we had to experience the Shibuya Scramble Crossing, said to be the busiest pedestrian crossing in the world, with as many as 3,000 people crossing at a time. At the crossing, there's a place called the Tokyo Food Show. We saw it online, but we never knew much about it, so it was definitely worth a visit. Apparently, it's a high-end supermarket, where all the displays seem to be set up almost like jewelry counters. Some of the prices weren't outrageous, at least compared to the US, until you got to the fruit. Imagine $16.75 for a small bunch of grapes, even if they are special, very sweet Japanese grapes. The next store we wandered into was gigantic, but we couldn't find any prices. It turned out to be a 100-yen store, each item about 66 cents a piece. With about 2 hours before our food tour, Hurrihan suggested we visit the Metropolitan Government Building, with its observation room on the 45th floor. The views were great, and it was conveniently right across the street from our hotel. We even had time to watch the sunset behind Mount Fuji. Our food tour takes us to the heart of the Shinjuku ward, not far from our hotel. Just on the other side of the railroad tracks is a curved high-resolution LED screen, creating an intriguing 3D effect. Making our way through the crowds, we see the giant Godzilla head on top of the Toho building. We also saw this Godzilla float on our way to our first location, the Hokkaido restaurant Kibori. Kibori means bear, but we're having a sushi plate.
Are these both salmon?
No, this one is like a yellow tail. Yellow tail.
Tail. Mm-hmm.
On our way to our next location, we stopped at a gaming arcade, where we watched the other couple in our tour try their luck. We never really discovered the name of our next location, something to do with roasted Wagyu back alley meat. They served us 2 types of Kagoshima black beef Wagyu, one of the highest prized varieties. We were instructed to grill it ourselves, then rub it on a salt block and put a small amount of wasabi on it. What's the far one?
Yeah, what's this one?
So that one's for the guys.
It seems like the.
You don't get the expensive stuff? Is that what the deal is?
This one is the. This one's the.
One unusual thing we noticed is that you were never given a knife. Even for this meat, we had to cut it with a scissors. Our final stop is a bar on the 5th floor of an office building, and is called the Candy Bar. It's decorated like an old Japanese neighborhood, with a house in the middle, where you can collect as many treats as you want. But since we couldn't read the packaging, we didn't know what we'd be surprised with. As we walked back to our hotel, we again passed by the municipal government building, now lit with vivid colors. It's a new day, and we're braving the early morning rush hour and taking the subway to the Tsukiji Outer Market. This is one of the main outdoor markets in Tokyo. It used to be the commercial fish market, with stalls on the outside for the general public. In 2018, the commercial fish market moved to a new location, but the outer market remained. It was this shop where we found some great deals on some chopsticks, even ones with magnets in them. It was crowded, and the most popular locations to grab a bite to eat had long lines. This is tamagoyaki, literally translated as grilled egg. It is a subtly sweet, layered and rolled omelet, cut up and served on a stick. This was called tonkatsu, a deep-fried pork cutlet that we had served with bonito fish flakes. We also tried a shrimp, octopus, and ginger cabbage cake, served on a stick. We finished everything off with some matcha tea-flavored ice cream. Nearby was the Tsukiji Honganji, a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist temple, with its unique architecture influenced by ones in India. Unfortunately, it was closed for a special event. We then walked to the Aquarium Art Museum. It's actually located on the 9th floor of a department store. It's a very unusual exhibit where the aquariums and fish are the artwork. From one surrealistic exhibition to another, we're heading over to teamLab Planets. After taking off our shoes and rolling up our pants in their locker room, we first walk up an incline of rushing water, an interesting way of disinfecting everyone's feet. The first room we walked through was filled with large blocks of foam covered in cloth, called the soft black hole. The next room is called the Infinite Crystal Universe and is a maze of strings of LED lights. In this room, you wade through water with interactive projections under the surface. Now we're in a space filled with large spheres of light. This mirrored room surrounds you with projections of flowers and is called Floating in the Falling Universe of Flowers. This is a floating flower garden filled with orchids. Outside in the courtyard is a column called Universal Fire Particles Falling from the Sky. It was a 30-minute bus ride back to the area of the hotel, but again being rush hour, we had to wait for 5 buses to go by before there was room for us to get on one. It was after 8 o'clock by the time we got back, and the lines for the restaurants were long. We decided on some simple ramen, and the suggestion was to try Ichiran. We waited in the stairwell for over an hour as we filled out our noodle preference cards. Eventually, we were each sat in our own little cubicle, where we were served our own customized ramen bowl. Today we're taking a day trip to Hakone. We start off with an hour-and-a-half train ride, and then another hour by bus before we get to our destination, Lake Ashi. We start off with a 30-minute boat ride across the lake on a pirate ship. It really was a gorgeous day, with the torii gate and a clear view of Mount Fuji in the background. While getting on the bus, I noticed that my camera must have fallen out of my pocket on the train. We decided to continue with our day and check Lost and Found on our way back. Our next leg takes us on a 20-minute ropeway to the Wakadani Valley, an active volcanic area with many steam vents and hot springs. On the way up, we see some very nice views of Mount Fuji and Lake Ashi. Once we arrived at the Wakadani station, we again had some great views of Mount Fuji and spent some time at the Geopark and its Geological Museum. I love the sign saying to run into the building if the volcano erupts. The last major eruption was 3,000 years ago, but I guess there was a phreatic steam eruption back in 2015. One thing the area is known for are their black eggs. These are eggs cooked in a steam vent where the outside turns black, and eating one is supposed to add 7 years to your life. Taking a different ropeway down to the Sozan station, we see some nice views of the Great Boiling Valley. Next we take a cable car down to Gora. We arrived at about 1:30 and started looking for a place for lunch, but most of the places had long lines. We did find a small place that sold pot stickers, and a couple who allowed us to share their table with them. Taking a train for one stop, we head on over to the Hakone Open Air Museum. This museum consists of mainly sculptures, placed throughout the park-like gardens. One sculpture caught our eye, Arnando Pomodoro's Sphere Within a Sphere. It's always a surprise, considering how many of these we've seen in our travels. Losing the light, we took the 45-minute train ride back to the Hakone station. Checking the Lost and Found office, hooray, they had our camera. We start our last day in Tokyo at the Sensoji Temple and the Nakamisi Dori shopping street. Sensoji is an ancient Buddhist temple located in the Asakusa district. It is Tokyo's oldest temple and said to be the most visited religious site in the world, with over 30 million visitors a year. And it definitely had its share of them today. Just before the temple is the shopping street, catering to both tourists and pilgrims.
It's probably bean cakes because we had some of those.
We just got the plain ones.
We didn't know what we were getting. They were making them right there. They were hot. Did you like it? It was okay.
On the other side of the market street is a second large inner gate called Hyozomon, or the treasure house. It is after that you enter the courtyard of the main temple. During World War II, all these structures were destroyed, but were soon rebuilt, symbolizing the rebirth of the Japanese people. At most of these temples is an omikuji. It is considered a divine fortune. Inside this container are sticks, each with a number on it. Each number corresponds to a drawer that contains your fortune. Unfortunately, Marianne got a bad fortune. But it says that if you tie your bad fortune to the provided string or pine tree, it will wait around the tree rather than follow you home. Also, a quick prayer and some cleansing smoke couldn't hurt. There's a lot of shopping in the area, also a lot of crowds. We're making our way to Kaabashi Odogu shopping area, an area known for selling kitchen supplies. We're hoping to buy a reasonably priced nice Japanese knife, and it wasn't long until we found what we were looking for. As usual, we struggled to find a place for a late lunch. We did manage to find a Chinese place still serving. We had their set meal of spicy Szechuan pork stew, along with some beer and sake. For our last night in Tokyo, we headed for the Ameako shopping street, where we did some wandering, but spent most of our time in an outdoor cafe, where we enjoyed chicken yakitori, beer, cocktails, and some people watching.